Hi there. Now, I'll be doing my embedded systems project on how I can help rooftop gardens. So for a bit of background, I've always been interested in the concept of rooftop gardens ever since the service learning journey in semester one. And through this project as a catalyst, I'm using this to test my ideas on what might work in an actual setting of a rooftop garden. So how my project would help would be that it would automatically sense the temperature and soil moisture of the farming area. And if it recognizes if any of these variables are at a dangerous level, it will then alert the farmer. So here are the peripherals, the system block diagram, and the schematics of my project. All right then, so let's get into the demo. So now I'll be doing my simulation for my EDSS project. So when we first start off, we will print out the temperature sensor on the LCD, as we can see here. And when we find that it gets too hot, the RGB LED here will turn red, and it will say too hot on the LCD. Now, when it is too cold, this RGB LED here will turn blue, and it will print out too cold on the LCD as well as the temperature it's at. So let's go on to the soil moisture sensor. So when we click this button here, it will print out the soil moisture, and as we can see, it's a bit too dry, and the red LED is lighting up. And so when we move the soil moisture sensor higher, it will, when it is above 80%, it will print out too moist, show the moisture percentage, and this yellow LED will light up. However, when it is at a comfortable moisture level, the green LED will light up, and it will print out the soil moisture sensor without any added display. Next, we have this potentiometer here. When after it reaches a certain rotation, the yellow LED will turn off, but when it goes back, the LED will turn on. So then we have this button here. When we click it once, it will say emergency off, head to stairs, where it will signify that there's an emergency. However, if we wish to deactivate it and go back to the main function, you just have to click it again, and it will go on to printing out the main function again. So now I'll be going over the code for the project. So first we'll start off with this Arduino here, where first we have the ADC vector, the ADC ISR, where it will read both the temperature sensor and the soil moisture sensor, as well as have its initialization function for the ADC here. We will then set the USART initialization and the transmit for this Arduino, as we want to send both the values for the temperature sensor and the soil moisture sensor over to this Arduino here. Next, we have the main function to initialize everything from the temperature sensor to the LEDs. And in this while loop here, we will then transmit the soil moisture sensor variables and the temperature sensor variables. And this if-else statement here is to see if the soil moisture sensor is within a certain range, it will turn on each of these LEDs. In this Arduino here, we first start off with the USART initialization and the USART receive to get the values from this first Arduino here. We will then use this ADC vector to get the value from the potentiometer and this ADC initialization to initialize the ADC. This entire code here is to help initialize the LCD all the way until here. And this ISR timer checks to see if the temperature is over a certain range or under a certain range, of which it will turn the RGB LED either blue or red. Next, we have this PCINT vector, where if the push button is pressed, the flag will increment by 1, and the emergency variable will equal to the flag modulus 2, as well as have its external interrupt function initialization here. And in this main function here, we will initialize everything all the way to the global initialize, to enabling the global interrupt, as well as initializing the I2C. In this while loop here, if the emergency, which is this button here, is not equal to 0, it will continue running this main function. However, when you press the button and increment the flag, which will set the emergency equal to 0, it will run this function here, where it will say to the LCD, well, the LCD will say emergency off, head to stairs. Back to the main function. This if statement is to set the to check if the potentiometer is at a certain range, of which it will turn on the LED. If not, it will turn it off. Increment PB counter by 1 if this push button is pressed, and if so, then we will divide it by 2. We will set it to modulus 2 and put it into PB divide, of which if PB divide is 0, it will display the soil moisture, where different soil moisture messages will display depending on the soil moisture the Arduino is reading. And if it's not 0, it will display the temperature sensor, which, much like similarly to the soil moisture sensor, if the temperature is at a certain range, the LCD will display a certain message. Thank you for listening to my video. I hope you have a lovely day.